All right, what's going on, family? How y'all doing today? April is Financial Literacy Month, so happy Financial Literacy Month. And because it's Financial Literacy Month, we're going to be sharing just some tips, strategies, resources to bring more awareness to financial literacy and tackle the crisis of financial illiteracy that we face within our communities, that we face within our families, and that we face within our society. So, going to be dropping a few episodes to talk about financial literacy. So, today we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of financial literacy. So, guys, if you understand it, finances and when we talk money, it's really a psychology. What is your mindset on money? What do you think about money? What do you believe about money? What preconceived notions, what experiences, what is your belief system? What has society or what have you adopted as a belief as it relates to money? Because it all starts there. For example, we'll hear people say, well, I can't save money because I don't make enough. Or we'll hear people say money don't grow on trees. We'll hear people say things, oh, I got to charge. Dang it. We've heard people say, do you got McDonald's money? We've heard the term cash rules everything around me, money makes the world go round. We've heard so many different sayings or slogans or quotes about money, and they all, in one way or another, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, impact our decision making, and what we believe about money controls how we act with or without money. So, what is it that you believe about money? We've heard money is evil. We've heard, money is not everything. We've heard so many different things. And I'm sure you can name some of the things that you've heard about money. So, we want to just get to the bottom of some things throughout these series that we're going through and just tackle starting with the psychology of money. Because whatever you tell yourself about money, that's what you eventually your life will look like. If you say, I can't save, I don't have enough, I'll never be able to retire, I'll work till I die, then those are all belief systems that you've adopted that help to dictate and structure your life now. So, what is it? What is it that you believe about money? I'm curious. What is it that you know about money? We've heard the term money can't buy happiness, you know, and I heard some people say, well, being broke can't buy it neither. So, what is it that you believe about money? Money is, once we understand the psychology of money and our beliefs around money, then we can then start to shape what we want our lives to look like and what we want our money to look like. So, what is it that you believe about money? So, let's talk about just some fundamentals. Fundamentally, if we had to say finance 101, fundamentally, we've always been taught traditionally to have a budget. We've always been taught to save into your retirement accounts. We've always been taught to, set it and forget it. And we typically go throughout the motions of life, not really understanding and being in a position where we control our money. We've always, may have had someone to manage our money for us, or, even put it under the mattress. So we never really had a formal education about money. Aside from public education, maybe, you learned the budgeting class here or there, or you may have learned how to count money throughout K through 12. But did we have those conversations at the dinner table about what to do with money? I know my mom, my parents, they did the best that they can with the knowledge that they had about money. My mom would tell me, hey, stay away from credit cards. If you ain't got the cash, then don't buy it. You can't afford it. Cash is everything. So, but my mom, she had a budget, and she, back in that day, she lived off of maybe $29,000, $30,000, and we were taking vacations every year, and we were living in a decent community and had a house and had some experiences where we didn't have to grow up in the projects. So her what she knew about money, she instilled that onto us. But also, I'm realizing that what she learned about money and knew about money in her day and time, I'm not gonna say is not relevant in this day and time, but circumstances are completely different. How do we handle money when we raise a family and we got 3 kids and a wife, and we're taking care of the household, and you're the only income coming in? What do we do? So we've learned, just some traditional things and what society says of what to do with money. But now we're at the point where let's really get to the fundamental. And this is an educational discussion and an educational topic that we talk about. Throughout this, we're going to be educating. For those of you who don't know, Jazz and I, my wife, we're licensed financial professionals, and we serve families and help them to build and create wealth. And y'all, let me just throw this out there. We are in this thing too. We learning as well. We're not at, super wealthy and all that stuff yet, but we're getting there. We're working toward figuring out what that looks like and what we want our lives to look like financially. So this is not, if you one of them type of people, well, I can't learn from you. Well, look, I'm gonna just tell you, we ain't there yet. We ain't there yet. But what we can do is share with you guys our experiences professionally and personally that has helped us to navigate and at least establish a foundation to help us to get there, right? So a lot of what we're going to be doing is really just educating and talking you through some of the different strategies, concepts, and things that we've learned throughout the course of our professional careers, and what we know about money, right? So fundamentally, 101, we're going to start there. The first thing we need to determine is 2 things. And the way we determine these 2 things, one is, do we make enough money? That's number 1. And number 2 is, do we spend too much? So it's an either or. Do we not make enough? Or do we just spend too much, where it makes it seem like we don't make enough? And it can be both. Do I not make enough and still spend too much? That's a possibility. But what we're trying to get to the bottom of is figuring out 2 things. If we don't make enough, we're not making enough money, or do we spend too much? And the way we determine that is by what we call a budget. Most people would think when they hear a budget, oh, that's boring. That ain't sexy. But the budget helps us to be able to do the things that we want to do. A budget lists everything that we have as far as what our bills are, what our expenses are, what we want to save. If we want to go on this trip, this is what we need to set aside. This is what we're focusing on. So a budget, I don't want you to look at a budget as restrictions, but I want you to change the psychology of when you hear the word budget, because remember, it all starts in the mindset. So when you hear the word budget, what do you think about? Do you think I can't do this, I can't do that? Is that what a budget is? Do you think of restrictions? Do you think of, I'm going to have to cut back automatically? No, I want you to think of a budget as being your guide. That's simply what it is. Being your permission slip. It says, hey, if I do X, Y, and Z, I can go on this trip. I can buy these pair of shoes. I can, go on this date night and do these things because I've planned for it. So the budget is just simply a plan for where you are currently financially. It helps you to understand not only where you are, but where you want to go. So in the budget, what you should do, what we recommend that you do, is list out all of your expenses. So there's a few things that you want to list out. Number one, how much do you bring in consistently? This is, in other words, a salary. This is your income. So if you make $100,000 a year, if you make $50,000 a year, how much do you bring in on a monthly basis consistently? Right? If you do 40 hours, this is what you're going to get. Do you do any overtime? How often do you do overtime? So after you bring in your consistent income and you list that, then next thing that you do is you figure out, okay, where's all this money going? Because what I've learned throughout the course of our professional careers is that it's not that people don't make enough money. Now, in some cases, people don't make enough. Let's be real. Let's be honest. In some circumstances, people don't make enough money. When you look at inflation, when you look at what jobs are paying, when you look at cost of living, when you look at all of those things, some people don't make enough. But the average person makes enough money. It's just we don't have a plan for what to do with the money that we do make. So people will automatically think that I need to go and make more money. Making more money is always good, but if you don't have a plan for that more money that you made, then you'll still find yourself in the same predicament, in the same situation. We've sat down with clients who made $40,000 and had a plan, and they had 6 months emergency fund. They had, some money in retirement accounts. They had some things where then we sat down with someone who making $250,000 and they live in paycheck to paycheck, because more money is not always the solution, but it's more so of what have you done with the money that you have. How did you manage that? Do you have a budget? Do you have a plan? So the budget will help us to determine if we just simply don't make enough and we need to make more money, or if we have a problem spending too much. If we just on our Amazon cart and we shopping and we don't even keep tabs of it, if our Netflix and Hulu and all, YouTube subscriptions have just ate away, and we got subscriptions that we don't even really know about, like if every day $5, $10 here eating out, so the focus and the importance of all of this is helping us to understand what is it that we're doing with our money, so that now we can be in a position to take charge and take control of our financial circumstance. So once we have a budget in place, and we'll give you some resources at the end of the video, I'll drop a website that you guys can go to and download some free resources that can help you with this. So once you have a budget in place and you understand your expenses, you understand, what you bring in, your income, you understand what's going out, those are your expenses. Now you get to what's left over. That's called your disposable income. Now, if all of your expenses are paid and you have money left over, all of your bills are paid, you have money left over, then now we figure out what we have to do with that. Now, if you go through your expenses and you realize, like, I ain't got enough, now we need to just do some reevaluation. But that's for another time. Right now, we're just talking about fundamentals. So, list your income, list your expenses. That will determine if we don't make enough or if we spend too much. Then, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to assign every dollar. Y'all, you'd be surprised at how much stopping at 7-Eleven every day, even if it's $3, or going to the vending machine at your job, even if it's 125. Let's think about it. You know, you go to the vending machine for the bag of chips and or them cookies. You know, y'all know the cookies I'm talking about. The what is it? The grandma's cookies, them little vanilla, or the famous Amos cookies. 125 in the vending machine. And you know you can't just get just one. So, you know, how many times have you been to the vending machine at work today? Is it 2 or 3? Those $3-4 add up when you're doing it every day. And we may think, oh, it's just change. Oh, it's just, you know, $1 here or there, and it's something so insignificant, but it adds up. So when we assign every dollar, now we look at what we call a spending tracker. The spending tracker helps us to be able to track every single dollar. And the spending tracker, it has a dual purpose. The first purpose in itself that it has is it touches back on that psychology part. The psychology portion of it is, number one, I'm now conscious of where my money is going, right? Because when I fill out a spending tracker, I got to think. And most times we're not thinking when it comes to spending. We just impulsivity, or, you know, we're trying to fill a desire or what we feel is a want or a need in that moment. And we're making an emotional purchase. Even if it's a cup of coffee. Oh, I'm so tired. I ain't woke up this morning. Oh, I'm having a bad day. I need to get my energy. Emotional. So when we can take the emotion out of our finances and start thinking more logically, financially, it'll help to put us in a better position. So an example, the spending tracker will now help us to realize, like, okay, how much am I spending? Because on the spending tracker, you're going to do quite a few things. Number one is you're going to list what it is that you're purchasing. So if I go to 7-Eleven and purchase the cup of coffee, I'm going to put 7-Eleven cup of coffee on the spending tracker. Number two, you're going to put the date that you purchased it. So if today is the 15th, we're going to April 15th. Number three, you're going to put how much it costs. And then number four, you're going to put, was it a need or not? And I need you to be honest on this, was it a need or not part, because did you really need that cup of coffee? Not emotionally, but did you really need it? And when I say did you need it, not, yeah, I was having a bad morning, but could you have saved that money? Could you have made the cup of coffee at home and kept your $1.25, right? Or however much, $2 that the coffee costs. Because I know you didn't got the large coffee because you want it to last throughout the day. Then when it get cold, you throw it away, and on lunch you go get another one. So, but the spending tracker itself help you to track, help you to track exactly where your money is going. So it serves the psychology portion because you're now thinking like, okay, I got to fill out this spending tracker. So anytime you spend anything, no matter how big or how small, I want you to list it on that spending tracker. And I want you to keep that tracker for the month, and then we'll talk about what to do with that in another segment. So right now we're fundamentals. So we've talked about the psychology. What is it that you think about money? We've talked about a budget. We talked about assigning every dollar and a spending tracker. And then the last thing is CYA. Now, if you work in a corporate setting, or you may have even heard this anywhere, always CYA. And that's to cover your antennas. Cover your antennas. So the way you cover your antennas financially is you have to pay yourself first. You have to pay yourself first. Just like, when taxes come out of your check, if you're a business owner, and your taxes don't come out first or whatever, you have to set aside something to pay yourself first. It don't matter if it's $5. It don't matter if it's $10 or $50. Recommend 10%. And when I talk about pay yourself first, I'm talking about something separate aside from what goes into a retirement account. I'm talking about something that you can have access to immediately. But this is the disclaimer. You don't want to touch it. You want to be able to have access to it, but you never want to see where it's going. So if you have to set up an additional account, make an automatic contribution, and set the card, the bank card or the ATM card in the dresser somewhere, then do that. Because what that money is for, you have to just pay yourself first. That will get you in the habit of starting to save. That will get you in the routine of starting to save. So if it's $5, if it's $10, if it's $50, recommend 10% or more. If you got a lot of money left over after all your bills is paid, save it. Save at least half of it. Whatever, if you got $1,000 left over, save 500 of it. Just do it. If you can't live, if you say I can't save because I'm living paycheck to paycheck, then you have to set an automatic contribution so that you don't even notice when it comes out. And you have to save it. I've heard this saying from a great mentor. She once said, if you don't save money, money will not save you. So we have to start somewhere. So that's the fundamentals. We'll talk more in the next topic. So we talked about the psychology. We talked about budgeting. We talked about assigning every dollar and spending tracker. And then we talked about saving and CYA, covering your antennas. So if you would, I want you to go to www.financeacademyinc.org. www.financeacademyinc.org. And there we'll have a template. We'll have templates for you where you can download a budget template. You can download a spending tracker template to help jumpstart you to your financial goals and dreams. So we thank you for joining us for the fundamentals. Happy Financial Literacy Month. Oh, I ain't stick my middle finger up, y'all. My finger was I did the peace sign, but my finger was like that. So don't think of finger. All right, so peace out, y'all. See y'all next time.